Hey everybody, this is Daniel Hutchins, and I'm back again. Um, I lied about what I said on the other video, so I actually am posting more stuff right now. Okay, we are going to be talking about more stuff from our friend Screen Rant. From Screen Rant, we're going to be talking about a thing I'd mentioned from the last one about Catwoman. Yes, Catwoman. So Batman's Catwoman already looks better than the Dark Knight Rises Catwoman. Okay, Batman's Catwoman appears to hit the right balance of realism and comic book accuracy, making her even better than the Dark Knight Rises version 5 days ago. Okay, new version of Catwoman in Batman already looks like a better representation of the comic book character than iteration seen from Dark Knight Rises. Directed and co-written by Matt Reeves, the Batman will be the first installment of a new Batman continuity. Provide some fresh new takes on the Dark Knight iconic mythos. This includes the new version of Catwoman played by Zoe Kravitz. If Batman's trailers are of any indication to you, Kravitz's version of Catwoman will be much closer to Selina Kyle from the comics than any previous film iteration. Played wonderfully by Anne Hathaway in the Christopher Nolan critically acclaimed Batman film. Now, Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy reboots the Warner Bros. Near-decade-long Batman film series by Tim Burton and Joel Schumacher. Nolan's films notably grounded his films in relative realism, exploring the psychologies of Bruce Wayne, and exploring his methods and gadgets as Batman. The upcoming reboot appears to take this in similar approaches to the Nolan trilogy, even though perhaps with a bit more comic book inspiration. Related to this article, how the Batman trailer hints it could break a Batman tradition. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about something else. Okay, so Christopher Nolan's realistic take on Batman mythos applies to Catwoman as well. While Hathaway's version of Selina Kyle is a highly skilled, morbid gray cat burglar who becomes an ally eventual love interest to Batman and Bruce Wayne, many of her comic book counterparts' traits are glossed over or ignored. Zoe Kravitz's upcoming iteration of Catwoman is already proven to be more comic book accurate of her character. Based on Batman's promotional material, moreover, this fact that Kravitz's version of Catwoman is going to be introduced in the first installment of this new Batman film series, rather than in the finale, giving her enough time to develop her role even more, which is good news. Okay, see a photo illustration of her on Screen Rant. It's pretty nice. So, although the Batman hasn't been released yet, it still comes out in a few months. Its trailers indicated the version of Catwoman takes more inspiration from the comics than Hathaway's. Now, Kravitz's Catwoman appears to be patterned after the Frank Miller Batman Year One graphic novel, with short hair and an apartment filled with adopted stray cats. Now, Kyle's quip about nine lives also indicated, despite Reeves' realistic tone for the film, she isn't above comic book style one liners that tie on her motif. Now, additionally, several moments of this trailer appear to reference Batman Returns, framing Batman and Catwoman similar to the 1992 film. Now, most of you guys who were alive back then probably remember that. But okay, so Selina Kyle is never referred to as Catwoman in Dark Knight Rises. Okay, though her only outfit vaguely resembles her modern age comic book costume, with goggles forming an iconic cat ear like shape when worn above her eyes. Now, while Kravitz's costume in the Batman resembles the comic outfit even less, and this consists of a simple ski mask, and a black bodysuit. This film likely represents her early outings as Catwoman, giving her room to gradually form her iconic costume. But for right now, for this new reboot, we see her in a simple ski mask and a black bodysuit. Anne Hathaway has a more grounded version of Catwoman in Dark Knight Rises, fits the tone of Christopher Nolan's movie perfectly, although Hathaway's version eschewed the more overt elements of her comic counterpart's feline motif, depicting an ordinary, albeit formidable, thief. Now, Zoe Kravitz' Catwoman seems to blend elements of comics and previous depiction of the iconic cat burglar, striking this balance between realism and comic book escapism. Now, Dark Knight Rises had perhaps the most realistic version of Selina Kyle, but Batman will likely combine those best elements of her various depiction, making her an even better version of Catwoman. Okay, guys, so let me know your thoughts about that. Do you think that the Catwoman of the new Batman looks better than The Dark Knight Rises? Let me know your thoughts about that. So we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going. Do shoot out a couple more. Okay, we are going. We're gonna find some stuff. Okay, we're going to talk about something. Okay, so we're going to talk about SpiderMan. Yes, SpiderMan. Tom Holland reveals how he felt working with Maguire and Garfield. This was 10 hours ago. Okay, Tom Holland reveals he is very nervous leading up the day of his film of the epic Spider-Man crossover with Maguire and Garfield in No Way Home. 10 hours ago. Tom Holland reveals how much he anticipated working with Maguire and Garfield for Spider-Man No Way Home. Holland is officially the current web-swinging hero for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He first played the role in 2016, reprised it in a solo Spider-Man Homecoming, only to get even to be credited to the original modern-day Peter Parker, having played the superhero. The director, Sam Raimi's trilogy, 2002 to 2007, and the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man from 2012 and 2014. Okay, Spider-Man No Way Home reunites all these actors with an epic, mind-blowing multiverse story that saw the return of the two previous Spider-Man from the film Final Act. This movie's also featured iconic villains, which we already said, Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Electro, Lizard, Sandman. But of course, No Way Home hit the big screen on December 17th of 2021. It has become a worldwide phenomenon. The Phase 4 film has grossed $1.6 billion in the box office, becoming the most commercial successful Marvel Cinematic Universe film since Endgame. Related to this article, why Mysterio wasn't in No Way Home despite early plan to include him. Okay, so unless you want me to talk about that, I'm going to keep going. Okay, Holland joined Maguire and Garfield once again for an interview on the Spider-Man YouTube channel, and 25-year-old actor gushed about sharing the screen with his two predecessors and revealed how nervous he was at the thought of working alongside previous Spider-Mans. Now, Holland shared a sweet story of how he actually marked the date when other Spider-Mans were coming on his calendar. He anxiously waited that day to arrive. When it did, Holland said he asked co-stars Zendaya and Jacob Batalon to stay on the set to give him support. You could read his account from below. So it was very daunting because we were a long way into shooting before you guys showed up. We were maybe 3 months in principal photography. The date of the other Spider-Man coming was edged in my calendar, and I was getting closer and closer and closer and closer. And the closer and closer I got, the more and more nervous I was. And then as soon as I met you guys in Atlanta, I realized I had nothing to be nervous of. Our first rehearsal, I had asked Jacob and Zendaya to come with me to just kind of be there, like my support system. But like, I'm going to go meet these guys. I'm really nervous about it. We have read this scene, and I don't know how this is going to go because we're all playing the same character. We all have to bring our own kind of heart and soul into this, and it means a lot to them, and it means a lot to me. Okay, so that's pretty cool. I'm going to save the Spider-Man photo that's below that. Okay, Maguire and Garfield inclusion in Spider-Man No Way Home has been highly speculated ever since the multiverse premise of the film was revealed. The two actors refused to comment on this movie throughout last year, but when they did, Garfield had later apologized. Now, former Spider-Man's returning to No Way Home has become one of the most guarded secrets. Now, the thrill surprise to the viewers where the first scenes finally happened. It can be noted and said that instant that all three versions of Spider-Man got together to the screen will go down as one of the most memorable moments in pop culture history. Holland has obviously knew the magnitude of this occasion. Henceforth, his nervousness and anxiety leading to the film date. It's certain that on impressive feat for Marvel, its impact will definitely be felt in upcoming Marvel Cinematic Universe film, particularly Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, which is supposed to set next. But for now, it is unclear whether Maguire and Garfield would make more appearances in the future. Now, as Spider-Man No Way Home has masterfully crafted, nothing is impossible in the multiverse of superheroes. Okay, so let me know your thoughts about that. Um, so yeah, believe it or not, Tom Holland is actually nervous. Yeah, crazy, right? So okay, we're gonna keep going. Um, uh, yeah, we're gonna keep going. There's a ton of stuff. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Nightwing. Yes, Nightwing. Now, Nightwing cosplay has proves that Dick's mask could never hide his identity. Okay, so this fantastic new cosplay has made Nightwing leap right off the page. His accuracy brings this problem with Dick Grayson's skimpy mask. Okay, 11 hours ago. Okay, stunning cosplays of Nightwing have revealed the truth about Dick Grayson's alter ego. A domino mask just isn't enough to protect this man's private life. Now, Nightwing may have entrusted the small face mask to safeguard his secret identity since his early days as Robin, but one cosplayer showed the pitfalls of this disguise when it was translated in real life. Dick Grayson got his superhero start as Batman's original sidekick in Detective Comics number 38. For over 4 decades, he had nothing to protect but his identity as Bruce Wayne's world. Now, the garnished bright costume and mask has covered up a third of his face. When Grayson moved on to forge his path as his own hero, he finally had a chance to change his costume. But curiously, he's kept the domino mask, which is new self-made garb. Now, this choice might have not have been the smart decision. Now, as recent cosplays have showed, the reality of how little protection this mask offers. Okay, Nightwing is repeating Batman's greatest mistake in DC Future, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about someone else. Now, in a series of tweets, cosplayer Dynamite Weber posted images of himself dressed as Nightwing, decked out to the Dick Grayson traditional blue and black outfit. Dynamite Weber goes an extra mile, such as wielding Grayson's Eskrima sticks. Now, and also wearing protective shoulder pads, gauntlets, knee pads, and suit. creating a very battle-ready looking outfit. This has replied that receptive to the care and accuracy that Dynamite Webber put to his outfit. The current Nightwing writer Tom Taylor retweets this cosplay, even the mask Dynamite Webber credits to Tiger Stone FX, which have looked to be plucked right off from the comic book pages. However, the up close and personal shots have forced Nightwing fans to face the hard truth about the character and his costume choice. Okay, Dynamite Webber, you can actually follow them on Twitter. Happy New Year from your friendly neighborhood old guy dressed as Nightwing. Now, this is actually pretty cool because you actually have Nightwing and it really looks cool. So, this was a picture that was posted of a guy cosplaying as Nightwing um, on New Year's Day. It's pretty nice. It has 90 loves and 2 replies. Casual Nightwing is casual. Photo by Cross Justice, masked by Tiger Stone Effects. This is pretty good too. I'm also save it. But yeah, like I said, if I see cool photos while I'm on a discussion, I typically save them. Second tweet has 175 loves and 4 replies. Okay, this idea that the small mask, such as Nightwing's, being able to protect anyone's identity is a real stretch. It leaves a majority of the character face unprotected. It does nothing to hide other identifiable traits, such as the one's hair. Why would you want to cover your hair? Now, just taking a look at Dynamite Webber's face gives one pretty good idea of how he looks unmasked. Though Dick did, at one point, have his face dramatically revealed in the world of Forever Evil. It's hard to buy that absolutely no one with any familiarity to Dick or Nightwing couldn't connect this dot before. Now, leaving the majority of the head exposed, it's too much of a risk, which is probably why the character like Batwoman goes a step further to add a wig to her outfit, adding an extra layer of anonymity. The domino mask is just too weak on its own to help hide a hero like Nightwing. Okay, now with that said, Dynamite Webber does a fantastic job at bringing Nightwing to life, despite the issue of it bringing regarding Dick's secret identity. The cosplay is no less amazing. Okay, guys, so let me know your thoughts about this Dynamite Webber guy who's played Nightwing. Uh, Also, check him out on Twitter. He's really cool. So let's keep going. Yeah, we're just gonna do a few more. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Morbius. Now, I know it's been a while since we talked about Morbius, but we're talking about Morbius again. Yes, Michael Morbius. Morbius the Living Vampire. Yep, he has comics that are selling out like crazy right before the movie approaching. Morbius, has been around in comics since 1971, just becoming familiar as the Living Vampire 11 hours ago. Columbia Pictures' Morbius is set to release in April. Comics have featured the supervillain of the SpiderMan series are selling out. Dr. Michael Morbius, aka Morbius, has been around since 1971. The mainstream audiences are now beginning to become familiar with the living vampire. Following the myriads of his delays due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Morbius will soon have a theatrical release. Jared Leto, his portrayal of the vampire, enemy of Spider-Man, will stand on its very own in his film debut. This isn't the first time a villain's carried his own story. Again, we already know that, but ever since the first appearance of Morbius in the comics, writers have given Morbius his own spin off story that removes Spider Man from the scenario, and it proves he can work solo, which I never doubted anyway. Okay, so related to this article, Spider Man must pass Captain America's test to reclaim his identity. We're not talking about that, we're talking about someone else. Now, Morbius comics are selling out ahead of film releasing on April the 1st. Villain has exposure to mainstream comic book audiences. He is gaining new fans as displayed by trade collection being sold by distributors, and among the comics they are being purchased as Morbius Old Wounds. That was a book written by Vita Alara with art by Marcelo Ferreri. Morbius Preludes and Nightmares also collects issues of the 60s to the 90s. Morbius Epic Collection, End of Living Vampire, collects the issues of the 70s. Now, that's pretty cool. Alright. Picture below. Gonna save. Alright. Audiences have similar responses ahead of Disney Plus shows Hawkeye and Moon Knight. Now, they may have widely promoted that Matt Fraction and David Aja's critically acclaimed run of Hawkeye has inspired this show, making it necessary to read. Now, however, Morbius appears to take some liberty with his character. Now, although his comic book appearance remains intact, Jared Leto's portrayal diverges the villain personality as the film has morphed him into an anti-hero. Now, new fans are bound to notice the difference as they become acquainted with him in his film that is still coming. He joins Venom as a villain who's gained a falling apart from original nemesis Spider-Man. The Living Vampire has a new lease on his life. Now, previously, Morbius is somewhat obscure in comics. They homage the old horror titles that fluctuated over the years of popularity. Coincides, the vampire villain is getting his own cinematic adaptation around some point, as Marvel is to bring Blade back to live action. Now, other horror adjacent Marvel properties similar to Morbius have been reported in live action iteration in coming years, but soon casual fans will have a newfound awareness of the Marvel Universe beyond the superheroes they know. So let me know your thoughts about that. We are gonna keep going. Yeah, we're gonna keep going. Okay, this is going to be the last article I talk about right now. The last article I talk about for right now. Suicide Squad confirms that Amanda Waller is King Shark's mother. Now, this is kind of weird, but let's keep going. King Shark time in Wild Games comes to an end when he's revealed that he has closer to the Suicide Squad boss Amanda Waller than fans ever known him for. This is 12 hours ago. Okay, warning, there's spoilers for Suicide Squad King Shark number 12. In the concluding issue, Suicide Squad King Shark number 12, which dropped the bombshell that Amanda Waller and the humanoid shark are far more deeply connected than ever before than the hardcore fans suspected. Beginning of their series, Amanda has allowed King Shark out of her custody to battle in Wild Games, the metaphysical tournament of animal life which decides which species holds dominion over the earth far in the future. Now he's back ready to spill some home truths and establish a new status quo. Waller's usual implanted bombs weren't enough to guarantee King Shark would obey her order to return. So, when she allowed him to leave Belle Reef to visit his father, the shark god, she sent along Defacer, a low-level criminal who they considered a friend, and who Waller would execute if he failed to return. Now, while the Wild Games took Defacer out of Waller's reach, her unorthodox victory in the contest alongside King Shark meant that now she's back home, where she'll be vulnerable. The issue comes from Tim Seeley, Scott Collins, and John Krulitz, and is currently available to digital retailers. Related to this article, Suicide Squad revealed Batman's lame villain could still kill Thor. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about something else. Okay, returns from returns from the Wild Games. King Shark tells Waller that from now on, he'll choose his missions with Suicide Squad, acting as a brutal hero rather than a villainous muscle. When Waller threatens to kill Defacer rather than agree to his term, he reveals that now Suicide Squad boss won't do something so cruel, because she considers King Shark her child. Now, earlier issues revealed that they want to live a hard life so he would be ready for the Wild Games. They handed him over to Waller as a living weapon. It turns out King Shark was so young, Waller wasn't just taking stewardship of a superhuman asset, but of a heartbroken child. Have someone you need give you something you didn't need, King Shark says. You made a good parent. Okay. Okay. King Shark seems to be on the money, given Waller agrees to his demand, but this detail actually isn't surprising, because from early appearances of Amanda Waller has been characterized as someone who lost her husband and children to the messed up world, now driving her to adopt heinous methods to bid supreme control. It makes sense though, but having accepted the responsibility of raising a young child, a bite one at the demigod shark, she'd end up falling back parental role that stripped away from her years ago. Bizarrely enough, the situation actually works. Waller may be so cold to her charges that only they just realize how she sees him. But from her perspective, she got an unkillable son who will spend his life serving a large mission of making a better world from extreme forces. Twisted as this was, they gave the son to the adoptive mother, set turning him to a killing machine. Against the wishes of the biological mom, King Shark was ultimately raised by someone who appears to care for him. The resources he's known and shown is using to rescue vulnerable children from trafficking at an issue conclusion. It is fascinating to see how a relationship between Suicide Squad characters give Waller an unusual relationship with one of her soldiers of DC Universe with an unorthodox new hero. No story involving Amanda Waller and King Shark would ever go as be anything but twisted, but Suicide Squad King Shark number 12 has offered a close happy ending as either of those characters is likely to have. Now, given some extra a semblance of family and turning it into a better adjusted demigod, a real force of good. Okay, guys, let me know your thoughts. That's the last article I want to talk about. I wanted to close off with King Shark. Now, if you guys have any comments, leave them down below. I'm just gonna try and hang out. We are almost 30 minutes in. I gotta drink some of my Gatorade. When I talk for long periods of time, I get thirsty. So I'll see you guys around at a later time during the day or in the weekend. Again, I am intending to try to post some stuff this weekend. But yeah, anyway, guys, I'm hoping you guys have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful morning. And I'll see you guys around later. Bye.